The village of Oakhaven was perpetually shrouded in mist. It clung to the cobblestone streets and swirled around the feet of the villagers as they went about their day. The air was always damp, and the sun, a distant memory, was only a hazy glow behind the thick fog. Time in Oakhaven was a curious thing. It was constant, yet stagnant. Each day began anew. The sun, though unseen, rose at the same time, casting a faint ethereal light through the mist. The villagers awoke, their faces unmarred by the passage of years, their routines unchanging. At precisely midnight, the church bell tolled, and the day would reset. Memories remained, but time in its physical manifestation was frozen. Children did not age. The elderly did not die. Oakhaven existed in a perpetual state of now, a bubble of time untouched by the outside world. And at the heart of this mystery, whispered the villagers, was the Clockmaker. Eleanor, a young woman with eyes the color of the summer sky, had arrived in Oakhaven on the back of a hay wagon. She was an outsider, drawn to the village by tales of its timeless nature. She sought refuge from a world that moved too fast, a world where time slipped through her fingers like grains of sand. The villagers welcomed her with wary curiosity. They had seen others like her, travelers seeking answers in the enigmatic heart of Oakhaven. Most left, unable to bear the weight of endless repetition. But Eleanor was different. She found a strange comfort in the unchanging rhythm of the village. She reveled in the repetition, the familiar faces, the knowledge that each day would unfold exactly as the one before. It was a comforting illusion, a respite from the relentless march of time she had known before. Yet, a seed of curiosity had been planted. Why was Oakhaven frozen, and what was the Clockmaker's role in it all? The Clockmaker's workshop was nestled at the edge of the village where the fog was thickest. It was a place of gears and springs, of ticking pendulums and chimes that echoed through the mist. The air hung heavy with the scent of oil and old wood. Eleanor found the Clockmaker hunched over his workbench, his face obscured by the brim of his hat. He was an enigma, a figure shrouded in whispers and speculation. His eyes, when they met hers, were old and knowing, holding secrets as numerous as the stars in the night sky.
So the newcomer seeks answers,
He rasped, his voice like the creak of an ancient clock. Eleanor hesitated, then asked the question that had been burning in her mind.
Why does time stand still in Oakhaven?
The Clockmaker chuckled, a low, rumbling sound.
Time, my dear, is but a river. Sometimes it flows in unexpected ways.
His words were cryptic, offering no real answers. He warned her, however, that some secrets were best left buried, that curiosity could be a dangerous thing. But Eleanor, her curiosity piqued, was more determined than ever to unravel the mystery of Oakhaven.
I have come for the key to time. The arrival of the stranger shattered the illusion of normalcy in Oakhaven. He rode into the village on a horse as black as night, his face hidden beneath the wide brim of a dark hat. A long black cloak billowed behind him, like a shroud trailing in the wind. Fear, like a contagion, spread through the villages. They whispered of omens and ill tidings, their eyes darting nervously towards the stranger's imposing figure. He moved with an unnerving stillness, his gaze sweeping over the villagers like a predator, sizing up its prey. The stranger sought only one person, the Clockmaker. His voice, when he spoke, was a low, menacing growl.
He declared, his words hanging in the air like a curse. The villagers scattered, disappearing into their homes, leaving Eleanor standing alone in the center of the village square, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew, with a certainty that sent chills down her spine, that the stranger's arrival would change everything. The Clockmaker, to Eleanor's surprise, seemed unfazed by the stranger's arrival. He greeted the cloaked figure with a calmness that bordered on indifference.
You were not meant to find this place,
he said, his voice betraying no fear. The stranger laughed, a harsh, grating sound.
I've been searching for centuries. The key to time is mine.
Eleanor, listening from the shadows, felt a surge of protectiveness towards the Clockmaker. She still didn't understand the intricacies of the situation, but she knew, instinctively, that the stranger posed a grave threat. The Clockmaker, his eyes twinkling with a strange light, began to speak.
A time long ago, Oakhaven had been on the brink of destruction. A deal had been struck, a bargain made to save the village from ruin. Time in Oakhaven had been frozen, a loop created to protect its inhabitants from a fate worse than death.
The the clockmaker's voice barely a whisper.
The key is what maintains the balance.
He turned his gaze to Eleanor, his eyes boring into hers with an intensity that made her heart race.
The choice, child, is yours. Protect the key, and Oakhaven remains frozen in time. Surrender it, and the village will be at the mercy of fate.
Eleanor found herself caught in a maelstrom of conflicting emotions. The villagers deserved a chance to live, to experience the full spectrum of human existence. But was it her place to make such a decision? Was she willing to risk the destruction of Oakhaven for a chance at a different future? The stranger, sensing her hesitation, stepped forward.
Give me the key, and I will ensure that time flows again, not just for this village, but for all of existence.
Eleanor closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. The weight of the decision pressed down on her, threatening to crush her. On one hand, there was the comfort of the known, the safety of the unchanging. On the other, there was the allure of the unknown, the possibility of a future free from the constraints of the time loop. She thought of the villagers, their faces frozen in time, their lives a perpetual echo of what once was. They deserved a chance to grow, to experience the joys and sorrows of a life lived in its entirety. Opening her eyes, Eleanor met the stranger's gaze with newfound determination.
The key is not yours to take. Oakhaven may be trapped in time, but it is still home to many. I will not allow you to destroy it.
The stranger snarled, his eyes blazing with fury.
You dare defy me? You are but a fleeting shadow, a flicker in the grand tapestry of time.
Eleanor stood her ground, her fear giving way to a quiet resolve. She knew, in that moment, that she had made the right decision. The fate of Oakhaven, for better or for worse, was now intertwined with her own. The clockmaker, a glimmer of pride in his ancient eyes, stepped forward. He placed a hand on Eleanor's shoulder, his touch surprisingly strong.
You have chosen wisely, child. Oakhaven is safe for now.
The stranger, his face contorted in a mask of rage, vanished into the mist, his parting words echoing through the village square.
This is not over. The key will be mine, and when it is, time will bend to my will.
Eleanor watched him go, a shiver running down her spine. The stranger was gone, but his threat lingered in the air, as heavy and oppressive as the fog that clung to Oakhaven. She knew, with a certainty that settled deep in her bones, that this was only the beginning. The clockmaker, his face etched with concern, led Eleanor back to his workshop. He spoke of ancient magic, of forces beyond human comprehension, and he revealed his greatest fear, the stranger's return. As dawn approached, casting a pale light over the village, Eleanor made a decision. She would stay in Oakhaven. She would learn from the clockmaker, hone her skills, and prepare for the inevitable day when the stranger returned for the key to time. The clockmaker, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and apprehension, led her to a corner of his workshop. There, on a workbench, sat his latest creation, a clock unlike any other. Its gears were crafted from silver, its face inscribed with symbols that seemed to writhe and shift before her eyes.
This is the key to our future.
The clock ticked, its sound a steady rhythm in the stillness of the workshop. It was a sound of hope, of defiance, of a future yet to be written. But beneath it all, Eleanor could hear another sound, faint but growing stronger, the echo of the stranger's threat, a promise whispered on the wind.